It's just great to have all of you here as we prepare to see tonight's members-elect, Charlie McCoy, Roy Clark, and Barbara Mandrell, inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Membership in the Country Music Hall of Fame is an uncommon and significant honor reserved for country music's commanders-in-chief. On behalf of the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum and all my fellow citizens, I salute you. We will keep your story and honor you forever.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross in the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was lost. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
All three of tonight's inductees looked at the way country music was presented on television and said, you know, we can make this even better. We can present country music to a mainstream audience with respect, love, and even humor. Tonight's inductees will join an exclusive group of legendary performers, songwriters, musicians, and industry executives, and I tell you, they represent the best of the best.
At age 8, Charles Ray McCoy began his career with a funny book, a box top, and 50 cents. One summer, young Charlie saw an ad for a harmonica in a comic book, and his eyes got real big. From his mother, he requisitioned the required box top and conned her out of a precious 50 cents. Forever and a day later, it seemed, Charlie became the proud owner of a harp and instructions for 4 songs, Oh Susanna, Polly Wiley Doodle, Swanee River, and My Country 'Tis of Thee. By age 15, Charlie had become more interested in the guitar because, you know, it was 1956. About this time, he also discovered girls and set his sights on a career as a singer-guitarist. Charlie was still a teenager when he began working as a backup player at country and rock and roll shows all across Florida. In Nashville, he had witnessed his first recording session, Owen Bradley at the helm, and a studio full of nonchalant musicians playing without charts. When Charlie heard the playback, his eyes got really big, and he decided that session musician was the career from him. After hearing Charlie's harmonica on a song demo, Chet Atkins enlisted him to repeat his demo performance on the 1961 Anne Margaret session that yielded the top 20 hit, I Just Don't Understand. Within hours, Charlie was playing bluesy harmonica on Roy Orbison's monument recording of Candyman.
Come on, baby, let me take you by the hand. Come on, sugar, let me take you by the hand. You're for me, let me be our young candy man.
Charlie used his harp to deliver steel guitar, dobro, and fiddle licks, often in unison with the mimic instrument. To Charlie, the harmonica is closer to the human voice than any other instrument. The harmonica became his signature instrument, but he also contributed on bass, keyboards, guitar, percussion, mallet percussion, trumpet, saxophone, and the tuba. He's been known to play two instruments at the same time. Since 1960, Charlie has worked thousands of sessions, often as many as 400 in a year. His first solo album, The Real McCoy, languished and disappeared until a Florida DJ started spinning one of the cuts. The song became Charlie's first solo chart hit and won Charlie a 1972 Grammy for Best Country Instrumental Performance. In 1965, Charlie met Bob Dylan in a New York studio and was invited to play acoustic guitar on Dylan's Desolation Row. Charlie and a handful of Nashville cats would later play with Dylan on the albums Blonde on Blonde, John Wesley Harding, and Nashville Skyline, all recorded in Nashville. Music City became a hotbed of experimental collaborations that eventually led to the flourishing of country rock and a new phenomenon in country music called the outlaw movement. In tribute to Charlie McCoy, with P.T. Gazelle on the harp, here's Barefoot Jerry alumni Wayne Moss and Russ Hicks on Summit Ridge Drive. In the 1970s and 80s, Charlie also began a television career. He served as a musical director for Hee Haw for 18 years and filled the same role with many other series and specials. Charlie has always enjoyed live performances and may well have logged as much time on the road as he has in the studio. He says that the only thing a studio can tell you is exactly what you played. It won't tell you if they liked it or not. Once you play for a live audience and they get turned on, there's nothing like it. Ask him if he's been playing harmonica all his life, and Charlie will answer, not yet.
When I think of Charlie McCoy, I don't just think of him as only a harmonica player. I think of him as a complete musician. I recall watching Charlie McCoy and the Escorts on Nashville television when Charlie would play bass with his left hand and trumpet with his right hand. And for someone like me who's still trying to learn to tie his shoes, this was really impressive. It gives me great pleasure to induct my friend, the greatest harmonica player in the world, Charlie McCoy, into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Mama said there'd be days, but she didn't say there'd be one like this. First, I'd like to thank my God above, the Creator. He gave me a lot of talent, and He always opened every door for me, the right ones. I want to thank the Nashville A-Team for setting the bar of recording in this town so high and for teaching us how to do it. And I think the key to what they did was that anybody that records with them for that 3 hours feels like Elvis or Garth or Dolly. The morning of the induction, I walked the great hall up there and looking at the plaques, now counting Barbara and Roy, I have played on records with 53 of them. All I ever wanted to do was play with those people. Now to be a part of this is so amazing. And guess what? I ain't through playing yet.
Roy Linwood Clark was born, the eldest of 5 children, to Hester and Lillian Oliver Clark on April 15, 1933, in Meherrin, Virginia. Roy spent his early childhood in Meherrin, happily going to school barefoot in bib overalls and with his shirt properly buttoned up to his neck. Music came naturally to Roy, who learned guitar, fiddle, and banjo at his father's knee. He and his dad often performed together while Roy was still a teenager. By age 20, Roy had gone semi-pro, playing clubs, touring with Grandpa Jones. In the late 1950s, network TV appearances on Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts widened Clark's reputation. Clark joined Capitol Records artist Wanda Jackson's band in 1960, fronting the group. Playing lightning-fast rockabilly guitar, Roy made an appearance on The Tonight Show. As a result, his album took off. It became a bestseller. On the road, fans lined up in droves to see America's new guitar slinger. Roy became a coveted and popular guest on television variety shows. As he explains it, his reputation with television producers grew because he was a TV entertainer who sang a country song, as opposed to a country music artist who appeared on TV.
He certainly is versatile as a comedian, guitar player, and singer, and we want you to watch him play the guitar this morning. I don't know what you have in mind.
It's a brand new thing.
Oh, just write it?
Yeah, well, just now.
Oh.
The first time I heard this, I said to myself, That's the first time I've ever heard that. It's called finger licking. I stole it from Colonel Sanders.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he doesn't yet. It's an A. It's 5 up from the big end.
In 1969, ABC unveiled The Johnny Cash Show. CBS launched the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour, and also the least likely to succeed music and comedy show called Hee Haw. Roy starred magnificently throughout the show's 25-year run. A comedian since his school days, Roy loved the stereotyped hillbilly comedy, especially the cornfield bits he did with Junior Samples. Though Roy now had a TV cue that meant he was a household name, he remained committed to his recording and performing career. To sing Roy's 1970 country hit, Thank God in Greyhound, please welcome Grand Ole Opry star Josh Turner.
And all I can think of is, thank God in Greyhound you're gone. Thank God in Greyhound you're gone. That load on my mind got lighter when you got on. That shiny old bus, beautiful sight. The black smoke rolling up around the tail lights. It may sound kind of cruel, but I've been silent too long. Thank God in Greyhound you're gone. Thank God.
All the while, Roy continued to make great records. In 1973, his Come Live With Me was the knockout punch that landed Roy in the numero uno seat at the top of the country chart and returned him to the pop chart as well.
Come live with me and be my love. Share my bread and wine. Be wife to me. Be life to me. Be mine. Come live with me and be my love. Let our dreams come alive. Be mate to me. Be fate to me. Be mine.
It's like knowing two sides of a coin. I knew him from the other side of the television. Grew up in the same town he was from. Now I live in the same town. We're neighbors. If you guys are familiar with Tulsa, not a lot of dreams there. And to have somebody right there that has always told everyone, no matter where you're from, no matter the color of your skin, rich or poor, if you got dreams, go chase them. That's what this man has done for our community there, and it's what he continues to do. Share my bread and wine. Be part of me, the heart of me. Be mine. Oh, come, be part of me, the heart of me. Be mine.
Well, they thought enough to get a little thing down there. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? All right. You can't say a few words about Roy Clark. You can't do that when you're the ultimate entertainer in country music all over the world. Give him a nice round of applause. I was passing through Las Vegas one time, and that's as close as I ever got to entertaining there. You were working at the Golden Nugget, and my boys and my band, and we had a couple of days off, and we stopped to see Roy Clark at the Nugget. And there was a little swimming pool out in front of the motel, and there was a little red Volkswagen sitting there by the side of the pool. And you said to me, you said, "They tell me that these things will float." This lady come walking out, and she said, "What are y'all doing to my car?" And they said, "They tell me this thing will float." And she said, "We might as well try it," and she joined them and pushed the damn car in the damn pool. We love you, Roy Clark. We love you. You wear this with dignity. Yeah, you do.
You know that.
And with pleasure, and with dignity and pleasure and pride. And we all know in this audience tonight that you will do just that. Thank you, Roy Clark.
Yesterday, when I was young, the taste of life was sweet as rain upon my tongue. I teased at life as if it were a foolish game, the way the evening breeze may tease a candle flame. The thousand dreams I dreamed. Wasn't that long ago I could come out on stage and do cartwheels. But what happened was it broke down in the middle of the cart. I lived by night and shunned the naked light of day. And only now I see how the years ran away. In the first year that I was out, Barbara and I, driving that 1957 Ford black station wagon, no air conditioning, no automatic transmission. Everything we owned was in that car. And we were out 347 days. That was Jim Halsey at his best. But I just want to say that what an honor it is for me to be a part of the Country Music Hall of Fame and to see so many faces and to be part of you. God bless you for being so nice to me. And I'll just close my little speech with what Charlie started with. Thanks to God. Thank you. When I was young. Thank you so much.
Barbara Ann Mandrell was born the eldest child of Irby and Mary McGill Mandrell on Christmas Day, 1948, in Houston, Texas. World War II was over, Truman was president, and Roy Acuff and Roy Rogers were reigning monarchs of popular culture. By the time Barbara entered first grade, her mother had taught her to play accordion and read music. By age 10, Barbara was taking steel guitar lessons while learning saxophone in her school band. In 1960, Irby took his 11-year-old steel guitar prodigy to a trade show in Chicago, where he played guitar and Barbara wailed on the steel. The following week, billed as Sweetheart of the Steel, Barbara appeared at Las Vegas' Showboat Hotel and Casino on the same show as Joe and Rose Maphis, Tex Ritter, and Cowboy Copas. Barbara became a regular showstopper in Vegas showrooms. At 14, Barbara joined her parents in the Mandrell family band and began playing military bases in the U.S. and Asia. Barbara fell in love with the drummer, a college boy named Ken Dudney, who was 7.5 years her senior. When their secret engagement was discovered, the two were forbidden to have any further contact with each other, and they obeyed. Ken became a Navy pilot, but because true love never dies, the couple reunited and married in 1967, and Barbara retired from show business. After Ken shipped out to the Mediterranean, Barbara changed her mind about retirement, spoke to her father, and asked him to manage her. "I'd bet my last penny on you," Irby assured her, and grown-up Barbara Mandrell was no longer a novelty act.
While I'm putting on my makeup, I'm putting on the one who really loves me. And tonight I'll see it again. And tomorrow I'll be sorry. And I'll feel kind of dirty, 'cause I'll have the midnight oil all over me. God knows his dream would shatter if he knew the devil had me and won't set me free. While I'm putting on my makeup, I'm putting on the one who really loves me. And while I'm putting on my makeup, I'm putting on the one who really loves me.
By 1975, Barbara had signed with ABC Dot, where she continued to deliver chart hits, including the first in a string of #1 songs. In 1978, Sleeping Single in a Double Bed roosted in the country #1 airy for 3 weeks. To sing it now, in honor of her sister, please welcome Louise Mandrell.
I was one of the first Barbara Mandrell fans, and I am so proud of you, and I am thrilled to get to sing this for you. The only thing that would be better is if you were singing it, and since I can't convince you to do that, I get to sing with you guys. Okay, yeah.
Sleeping single in a double bed, thinking of the things I wish I'd said. I could have held you, but I let you go. Now I'm the one sleeping all alone, sleeping single in a double bed, trying to forget. I could have but you instead. I'm sleeping single in a double bed.
Barbara's lifelong affection for gospel music included black gospel, an interest that led her to discover and appreciate soul singers like Otis Redding. In 1979, the 1972 R&B pop smash, If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right became Barbara's second consecutive #1 country hit and a top 40 pop hit.
If loving you is wrong, I don't want to do right. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to do right. Am I wrong to fall so deeply in love with you, knowing I got a wife and 2 little children depending on me too? Am I wrong to hunger for the gentleness of your touch, knowing I got a woman at home who needs me just as a must? Am I wrong to let you give your lamb to a married man? Am I wrong trying to hold on to the best thing I ever had? If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Oh, I don't want to be right. If it means sleeping alone at night, I don't want to be right. No, baby.
It was unusual for women in country music to sing songs about adultery. Herbie theorized that his daughter could get away with singing cheating songs because she came from a wholesome background, had a good marriage, and looked like she had just come from church.
There's no time for you to stop. Keep on reaching till you reach the top. You know love will.
Barbara's family life, childhood years directing her sisters and putting on shows in the family living room, all coalesced with the weekly NBC television series Barbara Mandrell and Mandrell Sisters, featuring Barbara's expertise as a singer, multi-instrumentalist, and dancer. The hour-long program offered music and comedy and reached millions of viewers. One of her chart toppers was a veritable hymn of gladness and sass that connected with her peers and with her fans and fulfilled her subscription to country music immortality.
I thank you for the things that you've taught me, not only musically, but spiritually. And I will always treasure our relationship with all my heart. And before I start bawling like a baby, I'm going to start singing. I remember wearing straight-leg Levi's, flannel shirts even when they weren't in style. I remember singing with Roy Rogers at the movies when the West was really wild. And I was listening to the Opry when all of my friends was digging rock and roll and rhythm and blues. Yeah, I was country, and country wasn't cool. I remember circling the drive-in, pulling up and turning down George Jones. And I remember when no one was looking, I was putting peanuts in my coat. I took a lot of kidding, 'cause I never did fit in. And now look at everybody trying to be what I was then. I was country, and country wasn't cool.
I was country. Country wasn't cool. Yeah, I was country from my head down to my boots. Oh, I still act and look the same. What you see ain't nothing new. Hey, I was country.
Yeah, you were.
When country wasn't cool.
was country when country wasn't cool.
Barbara, a few key words come to mind when I think of you. The first one being genius. You've shown genius in your many God-given talents that you have so generously shared with the rest of the world. Grounded. During your rise to stardom and receiving over 75 major industry awards, you have never forgotten your roots and your values. In a career that has spanned 4 decades, you've never managed to lose focus on your career, or more importantly, your family. There is no such thing as perfection, at least we're told that's true. But Barbara, we have found the exception, for you, my friend, are perfectly you. Now, Barbara Mandrell, with congratulations not only from my wife, but all my fellow members of the Country Music Hall of Fame, and on behalf of the CMA, I now pronounce you a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame.
This is just a very emotionally charged evening for all of the inductees, for all of us and our families and our friends. I want to say that I'm deeply grateful to my Lord God Almighty that He allowed my daddy, Herbie Mandrell, to be here with us at the press conference when they announced that I was going to be inducted into the revered Country Music Hall of Fame before he took my daddy to his home in heaven. It's his name, Mandrell, that I am blessed to have. And it's the gracious, loving public and the fans that made that name, Mandrell, known and made it become popular. So tonight I thank you with my entire being for putting me and my daddy's name into the Hall of Fame. And I thank God for taking me on this most amazing journey. For me, this evening is monumental. And I thank you all for being here and for sharing it. God bless you, and God bless the Country Music Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Build a circle, be unbroken, by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a letter on the way, in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Mr. Undertaker, Undertaker, please drive slow, or that lady